Well, I think it's funny when write the damn book.
Right.
I think it's funny when you're just getting into the author scene as an indie, as a first-time author. It seems like nobody else is an author at first, and it seems like you don't know anybody or what you're doing, and then as soon as you step into the author scene, it's like, oh my god, everyone I know is an author.
Right.
It's kind of a double-edged sword though, because that's also your competition. Not necessarily competition, but that's also the market is flooded because there are so many authors, and it's hard to get views on your books because you're constantly trying to get your book in front of 1,000 other books that are being published along with yours.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, and for those of you just tuning in, since I just hit live without asking permission,
Yes, it's live.
we're talking about how we need to book some shows for this year. We actually have spots open in February, March, April, May, pretty much every month of the year. So we're looking for authors and creators of any kind to jump on. If you're interested, hit us up on Facebook, but the better way is to email us at spillinginkshow@gmail.com. That way Katie does the work.
We all relax over the holidays.
Lax, I only gained like 10 pounds. Come on.
Oh, come on.
I lost 2.
Well, welcome. We're back.
Hi.
Yay! It's 2021. We're still alive. We're here and we're smiling. So that's a good thing. And we have a super duper professional introduction heading your way right now from this lovely lady right there.
Wait, what's he talking about? What? I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
I thought you were doing that. What? All right, fine. Here we go. Gotta, get the voice ready to go here. All right.
Me.
Yes. All right. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Ink. We are the talk show that brings you behind the book to meet the authors and professionals in the publishing industry. It is January 2021. We've all experienced our 7-day free trial. Are we ready to return this year or keep on going?
Send it back.
I lost my receipt.
No, always move forward.
If it was purchased at Kohl's, you don't need that receipt. You just bring it back.
Good to know.
Ooh, okay.
Now I know where to buy next time.
No, this isn't a Kohl's shirt.
2020 was definitely a year of more downs than ups. So I think we're all kind of looking forward to 2021 being a fresh approach, new opportunities, and we're going to get some good things going this year. Right, guys?
Absolutely.
Yes, so.
Absolutely.
We might have to make some of these good things happen ourselves.
We might have to meet each other in person.
In person? What?
Wow.
No, we don't do that.
We haven't done that in, a year.
We don't need them. We don't want them.
You don't want to at your house, Jay? Anyway.
Goodness.
Well, I know somebody who is always creating, and they create excellent content geared straight towards indies, and that is our sponsor, which is Go Indie Now.
Hello, everybody. I am Joe Compton, and welcome to our channel, Go Indie Now. This is the place that celebrates indie artists and indie art, and we do so by producing several shows that either air on daily, weekly, monthly, or seasonal scheduling. And within those shows, we aim to educate and entertain you. If you're an indie artist who's trying to figure out how to do this, this is the place you need to be. If you're an indie artist who's looking to promote and doesn't have any avenues and is tired of the grind, this is the place to be. Because remember, it's always time to go indie now.
That's right.
Joe Compton, always time to go indie now. And Joe, I don't know if you check your email often, but I did just refer a couple people to you. Gave them your email address. Sorry, and you're welcome, I guess.
Why
But,
sorry? You tell.
well, I don't know if we're supposed to give out Joe's email address or not. So hopefully that's okay. But they're looking to get connected with more podcasts and shows, and I thought he'd be a great place to get wired in.
Hey, you know what? That's what 2020 was all about. Is the year of Zoom meetings, podcast, video shows. A lot of shows started up during the year, and I know ours has been running for about 4 years now, going on 5. We've been around for a while, and we had absolutely no problem booking guests in 2020.
Oh yes, I mean we had to turn people away.
Yeah, that's a first for us. We don't normally do that.
Yes, we can't have you this week, but we can have you next week.
Well, we have hi Mikey Faria. How are you? Yes, welcome to 2020, Mike. It's so good to hear from you. I love always seeing you on here every week. It's so nice to have a cool regular viewer.
We got to get him back on for an episode because he released
it's been a
Passengers
while.
not too long ago.
He what now?
He released Passengers not too long ago.
Oh yeah, Mike. Do you want to come on again? Because we'd love to have you. We love talking with you. I promise you, I won't pretend Katie died or anything like that. I know you were a little mad about that.
What did I miss? What do you guys get up to when I'm not here?
He sent me a message one time last year, and it was like early in the year, and he was like, "Hey, how's the gang going? How are you and Katie doing?" And I was like, "Well, Katie was actually in a car accident, and she passed away." And it was not okay. and it was a really nasty joke because Mike doesn't know me very well. So it was a really mean thing to do, and I've apologized many times. But
I just checked in my brain. Very dark sense of humor. Got it.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, I got it. Now I'm on board.
You're darker than mine, and I'm the dark one on the show.
This one, where is she? There he goes. She regularly murders her characters and enjoys it.
Well, before we let Katie drag us too off track today, I know she did, Mike. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I made his wife cry. Yeah. Well, anyhow, so we have another great guest today. David, how are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me back on, guys. I really appreciate it.
It's good to see you again. In case anyone missed you the first time around, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a comic book indie creator with Correct Handed Comics. You can find us on correcthandedcomics.com and on Facebook at Correct Handed Comics. We put out different genres, one-shots. I have a ongoing series, action thriller series called The Offspring that's about to hit issue 14. I've got a great new colorist called Chris McCauley, who has worked with Boom Studios and Marvel and worked with Disney and has worked with and is working right now with actually a James Bond series and a Dracula series. He's super awesome, and if people could see the pages right now, I think they'd be blown away. I can't wait for people to see him. We have, like I said, a whole bunch of different genre one-shots out, 100-page graphic novels. I have my own novel that I wrote from the website, a Western called The Last Ride to Tyburn, and you can find it all, like I said, on correcthandedcomics.com.
Is that like you got your correct hand free?
It's an old joke that I used to tell as a waiter. People would I'd be writing down their whatever they were getting to eat, and I'd get at least 10 times in a shift, "Oh, you're a lefty. Oh, you're left-handed." And I'd hear all the stories about people who are left-handed or have demons inside them of them, and they're wrong and all this kind of stuff. And I started saying, "Well, I'm not left-handed. I'm correct-handed. You're right-handed. I'm correct-handed." And it's just something that stick. And 20 years later, I turned it into a publishing company.
I love that. And the book I'm reading right now is about a left-handed assassin, and she does have a demon inside her. That's fantastic.
There you go. It must be true. It must be true then. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who'd probably say, yeah, that sounds about right for David. David's got a demon inside of him.
Well, I'm looking. I've gotta find where Katie hid this. Okay, there it is. Here, I'll put this back up for a minute. I'm looking at this picture, which I'm taking it as a portrait of you. You kind of look like the guy from Memento. I don't know what his name is.
Okay, is he the coolest guy in the show?
He's actually pretty
then
cool.
I'll take it. Then I'll take it. All right, no
Okay.
problem.
Okay,
That's awesome.
yeah. How sinister of you, David. Boy, yeah.
I think it depends on who you ask. Some people would say, not at all. I'm a sweetheart. Some people say, oh, get that guy out of here.
Oh, sounds like there's some stories in there.
Yeah. From my youth. Doesn't everybody have those stories from their
Yeah,
youth?
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Guy Pearce. Joe says it's Guy Pearce. That's who I was talking about. Yeah, he was the bad guy in Iron Man 3 too. That's right.
Yeah. The guy who was faking out with the Mandalorian with the I can't remember the bad guy that was fake out.
Mandarin. The
Mandarin. Yes. There we go. I
Yes.
knew it had a man something in it.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
and the Mandalorian.
Oh, I'll really take that then. That's a good
he's
guy.
cool.
I'll really take it. Thank you. Appreciate that. I don't know if it was really complimenting me or the picture, but
Well, I
whatever.
mean, you could take it
I'll take
however you want, really.
Awesome. I love it.
Go with the compliment. Always go with the compliment.
Go with it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. And I've been asking this more and more as I've talked to more comic creators.
Mhm.
What do you do? What's your part of the process? Do you write everything, or do you do the illustrations? I know you don't call them illustrations usually, but I mean, what do you do?
For a lot of my books, I'm pretty much a one-man band. I write, I draw, I illustrate, I letter, I color, and I publish it on my own. I have a great editor that helps me out with dotting on my T's and crossing on my I's. But for the most part, it's from start to finish, from concept to finished product. It's me. I've been lucky enough to be able to work with a bunch of great writers, a bunch of great different artists. I did a 100+ page graphic novel called The Loved Ones, which I have right here, with a great writer who has his own another comic book company of his called and the company's called Dojo Kun Comics. Oh, you got me big up. I'll hold it up again.
Sorry,
Called
yeah,
Dojo Kun Comics. There you go. And we met each other on some really small press stuff that we did, and we just kind of hit it off. And I was really trying to get Correct Handed Comics off the ground. This is about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. And I said, hey, I've got this idea for a 100+ page graphic novel about the kids of classic movie monsters like Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, Wolfman, things like that. And I wanted to kind of reach out there to other art writers that I knew and said, hey, this is the concept. Are you interested in writing this? And he jumped on board right away and brought his own stuff into it. And it was amazing. So it was kind of like our homage to those old black and white Bela Lugosi type of Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman stories, but with kind of a modern twist where the children of these monsters are hunting their parents. And some of them are successful, some of them are not. And in the end, I think we really set it up to where the story really progresses. And some of the character moments and character beats that Brian put in there were really, really touching. There were some parts that he put in that I hadn't even thought of doing that made these characters, these monster kids, very human. So it's a kind of nurture versus nature story. And I couldn't be more proud of it. So it's fun for me to be able to reach out to other writers and artists and say, hey, let's put something together that'll be really cool. But for most of my books that I have, my one-shots, my ongoing series, it's me doing everything. And I quite honestly, I really like working with other people, but there is a certain freedom to seeing it to fruition by myself.
Now, what's the timeline look like for creating one of these? Because you're doing not only the writing, you're doing the drawing and the coloring. And I mean, that's a lot of work put in.
It is. I would say that if a 24-page comic that's colored, I can do it in 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah,
you
people
got
said that's
vein of
fast. I feel like
comics.
I'm going super slow though. For a one shot, like my last one shot I put out was a book called. The last one I put out was a book called. I forgot the name of my own book. Will Alien? There, I got it. I got it back in my brain now. Will Aliens Do My Homework? And it took me about a month to be able to finish it. For the one shots that I have, like this one, that are just black and white, like this one right here. The one shots that I have that are black and white, it takes me about a month to be able to. And that's after, I'd say that's probably after maybe 2 months of kind of plotting and writing it out and getting the thumbnails ready and everything. But once I sit down to start drawing, about a month for writing it and lettering it and getting it ready to go and ready for print.
Now, what came first to you? Was it the drawing or was it the writing?
I'm always an artist first. Okay. I think my mom used to make the joke that my mom makes a joke that I'm a visual artist first. How about that? There you go. I'm a visual artist first. My mom makes a joke that I popped out of the womb with a pencil in my hand. And she was right. I was very lucky to have parents that supported the idea that I wanted to be an artist. But by the time I was 13 years old, they were letting me take nude figure drawing classes, which I don't think a lot of parents would let their kids do that because they just think they want them to look at naked people. But I think my parents really knew that it was something that would help me for the rest of my life, and they were right. And I give them 100% all the credit in the world for knowing that their little 13, 14-year-old boy didn't just want to look at naked people. He wanted to be an artist. And I give them all the credit in the world. I thank them every day for it.
Well done, Mom and Dad. That's awesome. That's awesome. This is kind of off subject, but not too off subject, Katie. We've had a couple people on this show who are aspiring comic book artists or trying to get into it and don't know where to turn as far as printing goes and things like that. And, if it would be possible for you to maybe, share a link with us later that we can attach to the show with some resources for people that might want to pursue that, if that's something you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, definitely. There are a bunch of great printers out there that really, quite honestly, if you go into Facebook or even just Google comic book printers, 20 will pop up. There is, I'm drawing a blank on the one that I do a lot of talking with, and I can't remember the guy who's in charge of his name. I'm drawing a blank, which is great on live YouTube show.
Well, you couldn't remember your book, so I'm not that surprised.
so yeah, boy, I'm really. Let me take another drink here and let me see if I can reboot.
That's no. My husband was thinking of a word, and he was in the restroom, and all of a sudden I hear this word just scream out of there. That was so funny because he had the same, brain fart.
Jeez. I'll do better. I'll remember more words starting right now.
Okay.
I'll make better word.
Okay.
But yes, definitely. I will share some links and some Facebook pages for and websites to URLs to different printers.
Awesome.
We'll put those in the show notes to make sure everyone can see them. So that's perfect.
We got a question.
We have to do it in Mike's voice, though. Katie, go ahead.
No, that's all you, dude.
That's you.
Are comic books in general doing well in sales in the current market? I'd imagine they're doing better than ever.
Is Mike secretly Batman?
Yes, he is.
He is? Oh, wow. Should we have outed him right here now? Darn it.
Sorry, Mike.
Sorry. If Joker's listening, we're joking. It's not. Yeah, no. I would say that question was for me. I'm sorry. I would say that I think that given all the weird stuff, there are definitely a lot more eyes on indie comics, because when all this COVID stuff happening, there was a big hullabaloo that the big boys were saying, all right, drop your pencils, we can't do anything right now, while it was the exact opposite for the indie creators. A lot of us found more time to be able to create content, to be able to do the things we wanted to do. Me specifically as a teacher, my day job got a little harder. Because I wasn't just in the classroom with the kids, I had to do it online. It was not fun, especially in spring of last year of the end of the school year in 2020. So it was trickier in some cases to be able to find time to be able to draw and create. But I still was able to do it, luckily. And I think that with the amount of the influx, like you were saying, the influx of the shows like this, podcasts and YouTube channels and things like that, it's definitely grew, for me anyway, the amount of people that I had in my Rolodex to be able to reach out to for questions, or for, for just talking about comics and indie comics, and to be able to find a fan base maybe a little bit faster than I would have if it was just a regular year without a pandemic going on.
Definitely the indies did pick up the slack for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We saw a lot more indie creators releasing things this year. And you know what? That's good. We need that. We need a lot more of those independent voices out there.
Well, and I think in general that indie creators in every facet of the creative industry always just work their tails off. And I don't want to say that any of us work harder than someone that works in a traditionally published market, but we all work our asses off. All indies do. So I think that when things shut down, it really was kind of our time to shine, unfortunately.
Yeah, 100%. And for all the cons that happened during, not Comic Cons, the cons between pros and cons, for all the cons that happened with the pandemic, I think one of the pros was the ability to be able to be more comfortable staring at each other on a screen and being able to talk like this. While I don't think it'll ever replace going to a convention and talking to people face to face. I hope it doesn't, because that's really one of the fun aspects of being able to go and meet people, and hopefully after you meet them, they become fans of your work. If not, you've met a new person. You have a new person to smile at and to be able to talk to for a few minutes about comics. But with the pandemic, I think it really did give people an opportunity with these kind of shows to be able to have somebody in France be able to see their work maybe a little bit easier than they would have if they were, going to a convention in Winnipeg, Canada, or wherever they were, where people wouldn't really be able to see them and hear about their stories. So it really has, I think, in that aspect, been good for communicating for indie creators like me.
Well, and I think that, communicating online like this is definitely easier, and I think it's a lot more comfortable for some people, especially people who haven't done a lot of in-person events. But there's also just a certain amount of magic that you don't get just through the computer. I feel like I used to do live shows at the library, and boy, did I love that. I mean, it was and that was all it was. It was fun. And right now I am reading. Oh, so I'm gonna plug this. I'm gonna make myself big so that you can see this real quick. I was this series, and this author was just recommended to me by my friend Stacy. This is the Nevernight series by Jay Kristoff, and I've never read this author before, and they are absolutely phenomenal. Just crazy, dark, vicious fantasy, and it is amazing. And so I was thinking today that, man, when cons open up again, I'd really love to meet this author sometime and have a little interview with him, because I mean, just the way they put together words is amazing, and I miss being able to do that. We can do it here, and that's fine, but sometimes I just want to see people in person.
Jay, the year that you did those on-the-spot interviews at conventions was awesome.
Those were so fun.
Great material, and it looked like you had a great time talking to them too.
Yeah, and I got to meet that what was that one guy? The guy who created Thanos. He was in Avengers Endgame. I can't remember his name now. Why can't I remember his name?
The creator or the actor that played him?
The creator. Old bald guy.
Yeah.
But anyhow, it was so cool meeting all these people, and I was like, I don't know anything about comics, but this is a really interesting conversation. So
it's funny, the movies, how people, their knowledge of comics is really just the movies. For, I would say, most people. We went to see, I forget which one of the Avengers movies had Thanos at the end credit scene. And there was probably 50 or 60 people in the theater with us. And the movie, the credits are going, and we're all sitting there because we know there's an end scene, and Thanos turns around with the big smile, and I'm very, very excited. And my wife's like, "Man, whatever, I don't care. That was a great movie. Let's move on with our day." And I'm like looking around the theater. I'm like, Thanos, like trying to get somebody to connect with my eyeballs and be as excited as I was about Thanos on the big screen. And everybody's just like, okay. Great. What's his name? Big purple guy? Grimace? Whatever. There was, like I said, not many people, 50 or so. I guess that's a good amount for a theater. But just trying to find somebody to connect. Like, they didn't know who Thanos was. And I realized that I was not only the only, but the biggest geek in the theater. and I was fine with it. Was that good or bad? I was fine with it.
No, that's good.
That's good. I think it's good.
I've got to pull a Jane's husband here. It's a Jim Starlin, but I think that he created the Infinity Goblet. I don't know if that he created Thanos.
Internet has
Joe. Nice. He's only 71, by the way. Yeah, that is old, Joe. Come on. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Is 71 old anymore? I don't know. So I think it depends on the individual, right?
Right, exactly.
The way people are dropping like flies these last couple of years, it's ancient.
Yeah.
Well, our life expectancy has gone down in America.
Oh, okay, Jane, it's not old for you. I know Jane's like, oh, it's not that.
I'm not in my 70s yet.
You want me to boot him, Jane? You want me to boot him?
No. I'll go beat it with my wings later.
Just put it in one of your stories.
Jane, you being only 32 years old, I mean, that's not really something you have to worry about right now, right?
There you go.
I mean, you got a long way to worry about that.
I will.
Always go with the compliment. Always go with the compliment.
Yes. I don't know 20 years younger than I am.
Your friend Mike in there said he does not sound like Batman, so I'm confused. I'm confused on what's happening.
I can't remember what Mike sounds like.
So it wasn't really an impression of Mike as much as it was just a voice. It's a voiceover. Okay, got it. Now I need to talk to Mike. Now I need to know what he sounds like.
So what's on tap for 2021?
Yes. What are we doing, guys?
Yeah, I've got a plan. I have read so many freaking books in 2020. It's ridiculous. So I'm just going to keep reading, and that's how I'm going to pass the time until the world either explodes or everything is better. It's a foolproof plan.
It's a good plan. It's a good plan.
Yeah, I'll go. We at Correct Handed Comics actually just started. I have a bazillion one-shots that 24-page one-shots that I've already got thumbed out and ready to go. It's just a matter of finding time to be able to do them. So one of my plans is to get at least 4 one-shots out in 2021. I have one coming up that is I try to change up my genres a lot. Because I love almost every single kind of genre there is. So I've done one that was, like I said, my last one was more of a sci-fi action kind of thing called Aliens Do My Homework. And it was the story of a teacher and her 4th graders who get caught in the middle of an alien invasion and have to try to escape their school and not get killed by aliens. Then I have our more of a superhero genre book that one-shot that I did, called I Won't Stop. And I wasn't going to do any superhero stuff because it's kind of done by the big boys not to death, but better, than I think. I try to stay away from that because they're doing it so well. I have other genres I can deal with, but I found this kind of hook to a traditional superhero story that I think was really, really cool. And once I thought of the hook, I just had to get it out. So that's I Won't Stop. And then I had our I think I already showed it. Our one-shot Shady Lady was the first one-shot we put out. And it was and it's really like, I'm a big fan of like 1940s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like noir thrillers, the black and white stuff.
Yeah, noir thriller. That's
Yep,
what
yep.
it's like.
Yeah, like it was really like Frank Sinatra's Suddenly. If you've ever seen that movie, if you have, I think it was maybe not his first, one of his first movies, and it was really the first movie of that genre that I'd seen, and I fell in love with it. So Lady in the Cement, anything by Alfred Hitchcock, and that kind of thriller, idea. And I had this idea again with a really good hook for this character. That's like no powers or anything like that, like an equalizer type character that's kind of righting the wrongs of society. And I found that I can make it really topical because clearly the last couple of years have been very divisive for a lot of people. So I was able to take this character and be able to weave a story that is, I wouldn't say political, but has political aspects to it, to be able to kind of have the reader feel like they could be this person that could go out there and right the wrongs of society. And we have I have my next one shot coming out probably, I'd say, near March-ish. And it is just a straight up horror, like Friday the 13th, Freddy versus Jason type thing, called The Sock Hop Killer. And it is going to be I'm pretty excited about that one. I have a writing buddy that I did some stuff with. He helped me out with the plot a little bit. So it's going to be like a co-writing credit thing. And then my one shot, my ongoing series, The Offspring, just had issue 13 come out, and volume 1 and 2 and volume 3 are out. I don't have my copies of volume 1 and 2 yet, or volume 3, but this is volumes 1 and 2, issues 1 through 5. 1 through 4, and this one's issues 5 through 10, and then volume 3 have issues 11, 12, and 13, and the Shady Lady one shot in it. So it's going to be a lot of that, I think, in 2021. Still trying to build on top of all the content. Hopefully cons will be back and we'll be able to get back to meeting face to face. So really, quite honestly, after teaching and being a father and being a husband, not necessarily in that order, it's going to be just continuing to create as much content as I can in as many different genres as I can.
All right, so personal question here. You don't have to answer it. But being a teacher, are you guys still at home teaching, distance learning? Or are you in classrooms now?
We're distance learning. So I believe it was right after Thanksgiving, we were in school, but it was like the kids only come half the time. So there'd be a group that would come, like 2 groups that would come every other day. So we were in school, but it wasn't all the kids all the time. So around Thanksgiving, right after Thanksgiving, our cases spiked. Quite honestly, they skyrocketed. So we were doing full remote. Teachers still had to report to the actual building, but kids were learning at home. So and we're supposed to go back. My wife actually works in the school district, also a different school district, and they go back on Monday. And we go back on the 19th.
Which do you prefer, the distance learning or the classroom learning?
It's in class as always. Better distance learning has a big variable of challenges. One of them is just getting the kids to turn on their computer to be able to do it. I've got great kids and they do a really good job. I would say probably 75% of them work really hard, that if they're not in the meets in the class, because I just follow my regular schedule in school, and as an art teacher I have 6 classes a day. So it is just me constantly on Google Meets with kindergartners through 5th graders, and it can be a challenge. So having them in one building and corralling them into one room is very much easier than trying to get them to get off of their video games and get off of watching television to come learn and draw with me.
Yeah, and if you're teaching like the specials class, that's what our art and PE and all that, they're just the specials group.
We're trying to change it to either humanities or essentials. There's nothing wrong with the word specials, but at this point, I think in 2021, I think we can give it a better name than that, to give it the higher echelon idea of what it actually is. So we're trying to convince our principal, or we will at the end of this year. This year was not the year to bring it up, but we're called specials also. And I just think that it doesn't quite show the importance of what it is we teach. Right. A lot of people think, oh, they're just drawing pretty pictures. I tell every parent that says, oh, you're just drawing pretty pictures. Nope. Critical thinking, problem solving skills, and how to see your world better. That's what we're teaching. And we just happen to be able to draw pretty pictures while we're doing it.
Those are the hardest ones for my kids. I've got 2 littles in elementary school.
Oh yeah.
And they struggle more with the specialist classes,
Really?
distance learning, than they do with the regular classes.
Yeah, it can be tough because a lot of times, they don't have the material. Like I can't really paint with them because I don't know what they have at home. So it's very much just let's draw this, let's talk about this artist, let's draw this and color it, kind of a thing. So it's been like very taxing on the teacher creative juices to be able to find different ways to be able to teach the concepts that we need to be able to get into their brains before they get into middle school.
Yep.
But like I said, I got a good group of kids that really, I had one, not that this is about teaching or anything, but I had one student who in the classroom, he is a bit of a handful, great kid, but he's just talkative. He doesn't quite know when to say when. But a couple of days ago in class, he stayed at the end of the class, and I asked him, I said, "Hey, do you need something, bud? Everything okay?" And he goes, "Mr. Whalen, I just wanted to tell you that you're my favorite teacher."
Aw.
And I said, "Dude," I said, "that's really awesome. I really appreciate it. You're doing a great job. And when I am not doing mentally well with all the stuff, it's stuff like that really keeps me going for these, kindergarten through fifth graders to be able to say stuff like that to me. It's awesome. I love it."
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, and you've got another question from Mike about your teaching.
Okay.
What do your students say when you tell them you're a comic book artist? Oftentimes kids will want to try something like that too, just because they're inspired by you.
I make them try it. We work on three-dimensional forms from kindergarten. We go through all the elements of art: line, shape, form, value, texture, color, and space. I introduce them to them in kindergarten. By the time they're in fourth and fifth grade, we're drawing comic books. We're drawing objects using our three-dimensional forms. We're drawing people using our three-dimensional forms, and they're coming up with a comic book page of usually 4 to 5 panels of a story showing beginning, middle, and end. So so I definitely they love it. And I definitely use it to be able to give them, again, those critical thinking and problem solving skills. How do you get from point A to point B, and how do you do it visually? And usually the kids dig it. I had one fifth grader a couple years back who he was not a fan of anything about school. And it happens sometimes. You just try to stay positive with him, but he was not into it. And I kind of talked to him in the hallway. I said, "Buddy, if you hate me and you hate this project, that's your story. Tell that story. It's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings to, write up, 3 sentences about why you don't like doing this, and then draw those sentences out." And he did it, and it was great. And I'm not saying he's going to be the next Jim Lee or anything, but he finished the project, and it was really good. And I think he was happy with it by the time he was done. So again, things like that help push me forward.
That's awesome. I kind of want to back you up real quick, if possible. You have such good answers for everything. You really do. But when you were talking about what you have coming up in 2021 here, you had mentioned something about the superhero stories, how they've been done a lot, but that you had figured out some kind of clever hook can you tell us about what that is, or is that a surprise in the stories?
No, I can give you the basic idea. I tried to, like I said, in my books, I try to come up with different things that I've never seen before. Not that I've read every comic and every book and seen every movie, but I try to be able to write stories that might have similar themes or similar ideas or similar feels to them, but give them some sort of hook that's different than what anybody has ever seen before. So when I decided that I wanted to do a superhero story, I came up with a character that is very much like a Superman-esque kind of character, cape and a symbol on his chest and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted to, if you've ever read any of my comics or any of my books, I like to put my characters through the ringer. I like to make their lives harder, as hard as I possibly can. Actually, yeah. I have friends that just constantly make fun of me because I'm just beating my characters to death with whatever the problem is. And I think as a writer, that's the fun part, right? If there's no conflict, why are we doing it? So with this character named Spiral, and the name alone, I think, gives a little indication about what happens to him throughout the 24 pages. He goes through an event in his life in the first 3 pages of the book that completely changes his perspective, his outlook on life, his want to do it how he'd done it before, which was a very Superman way. Oh, I'll save you here, I'll save you there, but I've got to have my own life kind of thing. And it changes him to the core. So the idea of I won't stop is that he doesn't stop. He is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, not to use a cliche like that, but he is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week saving people. And he has made it his mission to save every person from anything that could hurt them, while he still has his powers, while he's still there on Earth. So while he was saving people before, like Superman or Batman, he's abandoned his alter ego. He's abandoned any kind of life that he has, and he has just decided to save people for his entire life, 24 hours a day. And it's really the emotional and physical toll that it takes on him, that it's really the story. There's a Justice League type-esque characters that jump in and try to say, you can't, this is not what life is. You can't save everybody. I'm sorry, say again.
You can't save them all. Yeah.
And well, his answer to that is, I'm going to try. If you're not trying with me, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the arc that he goes through. And in the end, the climax of the story, the nemesis that he runs into is the perfect I'll say it this way, is the perfect nemesis for the end of the story, to be able to have him reach the climax of his journey.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
That sounds awesome.
Okay.
I'd love to drop him into one of Jane's stories and see what happens.
Awesome.
I'm imagining him bubble wrapping somebody just to save them from themselves from getting hurt while running off to do something else. Like all of the saving, even the stupid little things to stop somebody from hurting themselves.
Well, part of the fun part of drawing that and writing that story was trying to find as many different ways to be able to. I guess you'd use the word montage. I wasn't able to put an 80s track to the back of it, right? Because it's visual.
Yeah.
But there's a montage of him saving people, and I was trying to think of fun, different, weird ways, but also in some cases very iconic ways of him to be able to save different people or do different heroic things, but have it again in a way that the viewer is familiar with, but yet hasn't quite seen it in that way. So it was a fun one to do. And the Justice League type characters that are in the book, again, they're familiar, but they're I think the designs that I gave them are so different, I guess is the word I'll use, that you can kind of tell who they're modeled off of, but the designs themselves, I think, were really super cool. Not to toot my own horn or anything. I guess that's what I'm here for, but
that's what you're here for. Do you sell all paper copies, or do you sell e-copies as well?
Digital and print.
Okay.
Digital and print. Yeah.
What does something like that go for? A 24-page printed comic?
So the one shots, I'm trying to remember the numbers of all them. The 100+ page graphic novel, I think it's only $15.99. I didn't want to kill people. I don't want to kill people with my price. But obviously, if I'm putting it on something like Amazon or Lulu or something like that, it's got to be. And again, my plan is not to be rich, but they won't, if it costs $2.99 to print the book, they won't let you sell it for $2.99. You have to sell it for another, a higher number than that. So the one shots are $3.99. I don't think that's a crazy number for a one shot. The digital copies are $2.99. So there's the digital copies, I think, are really the way to go, because you can have them and see them, and they don't take up any room. So I love the physical copies. I'm a physical copy guy myself, but I can see why people enjoy digital copies and getting them that way, because as long as your tablet doesn't fall into the pool or fall on the sidewalk and get cracked or broken, you've got a infinite amount of comic books to be able to read, or books to be able to read.
Well, and the nice thing about digital, I mean, for all across the board, is like you said, you've got almost unlimited room, and a lot of times it's less expensive. But
Yeah.
at the same time, there's certain books that I will still, if I just absolutely love something, or if
Mhm.
it's an author I know that I'm friendly with,
Mhm.
I'll buy the physical copy because I like to have it, here at my house with me. But
Yeah.
like this last year, having the Kindle was great because I read so much stuff from the library, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, that would have been a lot of money I would have spent on books, but
Yeah.
thankfully,
Yeah.
because of libraries, we can
Yeah.
read so much now for free, which is amazing.
Oh yeah, it's
Um,
awesome.
well, Mike has another question for you
All
here.
right, Mike. Thanks.
Let's see. Do you think there's much room to create new superheroes, or do you think they all been imagined already? Yeah.
Wait, he's changed into a Southern gentleman.
Yes, I don't know.
So Batman is now a Southern gentleman.
Well, that's his alter ego.
Incognito.
Or you're just practicing your voiceover work. Got it.
That's the only voice I've got.
Okay. I think that as an artist and going through school, learning about art and the masters and all that stuff. One of the first things they tell you is there is nothing new. If you thought of it, somebody else thought of it also. Just because that's the way our brains work. But I do think that there's always room for variations on a theme. And being able to have different variations and have something that is different enough, but still familiar enough where people will understand the concept or the idea fairly quickly. I think really it's not about the character themselves. For me, it's not about Superman or Batman or Captain America or whatever it is. It's about the stories that are told with those characters. So if you have a character that you think is a fairly unique superhero, I think that's awesome. Like I'll give you an example from the 90s when Spawn came out. Not necessarily the most original idea for a look of a character or anything like that, but he was different enough that people kind of thought there was, or rightly so, thought there was something new that they hadn't seen before. And it's the story that came from Spawn that has kept them going for this long. So I think that really in the end, while the character drives the story, the situation drives the story, I think that it's the ability to be able to use whatever character you have, even if they're just a cookie cutter, cut and paste kind of character, to be able to drive that story forward. It's the idea that the story, the lesson that's being learned for the reader, I think is more important than the character itself being super brand new. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's not the who, it's the how.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a very succinct way of saying the long-winded thing I just said.
That's the editor in me.
Say it if you can say. Don't say it in 5 if you can say it in 3. Got it. My bad.
No, but that's absolutely true because everything has been done before, but it's how you present it that really makes the story resonate with someone. So yeah.
No, it's just you. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, it goes the same for movies and even songs. I mean, they've been using the same basic format for 70 years now, but it's the way you use it. And that's exactly right. And
it
that's
doesn't matter if every. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. Jay.
No, go ahead.
If every song is chorus, verse, chorus, verse, would get kind of repetitive, but it really doesn't matter how you're saying it, but what you're saying.
Right.
And I think that's really, for me anyway, as a writer and artist, I try to make sure that if I have an idea that I know is taking inspiration from other things, that I have enough of a twist in there that it's not just going to be right out theft.
Right. Well, and there's certain books and movies that I actually prefer to have in a certain format. Like I last year I got into a big James Patterson and Clive Cussler kick, and they're very formulaic, but they were enjoyable, and it was a really high anxiety time for me. And I was like, okay, there's something kind of soothing about this structure, and the characters change and the situations change, but basically I know how things are going to go, and there is something comforting about that. But every once in a while there's a book that'll come along and it'll just blow my mind. I'm like, wow, this isn't like anything I've ever read in my life. And those ones really stick with you. So I think that you can once in a while hit on something really incredible. But it's got to be a combination of talent and luck, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think probably 80% luck, right?
Probably. I don't know. I
Some
haven't
people might
read it
flip
yet.
that, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you read one of Katie's books, and every one of her books is just like mind blown.
Awesome.
What does your shirt say, Katie?
This is Bushi.
I don't have anything written on my shirt. Not today.
Oh, goodness.
All right, well, back onto our topic of going forward in 2021. Anybody else want to talk about what projects they're doing? Jay, you're reading. David, you're creating. Jane?
Hold on.
She's got something to
Oh,
show
wow.
us.
This is what's coming in 2021. Where am I? Hold on. I need to find it.
You showed her how to share screens, didn't you, Katie?
And then I need to get that back up there. Oh my God, this is awful. There we go. Why can't I do this?
We have
there
faith in you.
You can do it.
it.
So close.
Okay,
Yay! Ooh.
Post-apocalyptic
Mm,
dark fantasy with the
Nice.
Dragon Tempest.
awesome.
A teenager who sells her soul and gets crushed by it in the Devil's Offer, and
Sounds
a short horror story. The Battleground is the first one of my undead series.
That is a
Nice.
super. Holy crap.
Yeah,
So
that
those
cover's awesome.
Yeah.
which one? All of them.
All of them, but I really like Battleground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the black
was
and
really
white
cool.
with that red just
Yeah.
pops.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and the artwork on Dragon Tempest, I mean, is
Really
just
nice.
beautifully done too. Yeah, these are great. But Jane, you've always got the best covers, Jane. You're amazing with that.
like my latest series, you mean?
I
The
love
one
those
that's coming
books.
out
I
right
love it. What, yeah.
this month.
Are
Hold
you,
on.
are you gonna,
Another one.
are you about to put that up?
Yes, I am.
Mhm.
You s-
All four.
yes.
Yeah. So Grimm's Daughter came out in October. Finding Death and Reap the Dead came out in December, and Kissing Fate will be out in February. So
happy.
Wow.
Finding Death. She could be played by the woman who is in the Queen's Gambit.
Oh,
I haven't seen
okay.
that yet.
God, I love her. She's amazing.
That was an awesome series. I mean,
It was.
who thought you could make chess as interesting as that? It was. I think
Right?
it was all her, but it was awesome. It was a great series.
I haven't
When
seen that yet.
when my wife first put it on, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be weird." But then we just like were glued to the TV the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that was great. That really
Still on
was.
the TBR list. Haven't watched it yet. No
Oh, it's
spoilers. La 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 la.
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could you have a spoiler in a show like that?
It's
I
not
don't
really
know.
a spoiler show. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's not really a spoiler show. She either wins chess or she doesn't win chess, and she does
No.
both of them in the span of the
Yeah.
at nine episodes. I don't remember how many episodes it were.
Well,
But,
and
yeah.
she's got the most fabulous outfits ever. Holy crap!
Yeah. That actress, I think, was amazing, and I've never seen somebody with so much just like, you know what I mean, like so much just boom right in her face,
Yeah.
to where you could see everything that she was going through with just with one
Yep.
tiny look. It was awesome.
She would make a great assassin, wouldn't she? With that just dead ass-eyed stare.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
she'd
yeah.
make a great assassin. Oh, love it.
Now, see,
So-
they're selling it better than Netflix did.
Yes, they are. They are.
Yeah, I didn't see much advertisement for it. A lot of people talking on Facebook or Twitter or things like that. But yeah, I don't think. I think Netflix just like kind of makes them and just blows them out.
Yeah.
With the hopes and says, "Let's see what sticks."
Yeah.
I think
Which isn't
so.
a bad plan. But
No, and it's a drama, Katie. And anyone who's watching, if you haven't seen it, it's a drama. So don't go into it expecting an action thriller or anything. But it is really intense. The acting is brilliant,
Mhm.
and the conflict. I mean, it's it's hard to explain. It's just really, really well done. So.
Yeah.
See, now back on the Netflix thing, I think you're right. They expect the viral to happen just organically, and all I've been hearing lately on Netflix is Bridgerton.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about Bridgerton, which I ended up having to watch it because like it wouldn't get out of my feed.
My wife watched the whole series in 3 days.
Yep. Mine too.
I said, "What are you watching?" She goes, "Oh, it's this great show called Bridgerton." And I just went, "Bridgerton!" And just started, like every time she started, I just would say it that way. And I'm like,
I'm sure she
"Why
loved
didn't you wait for me to watch this with you?"
Well, at one time I walked by and I just saw bare bodies. I was like, "What's this now?
What do you want to know? Did you order something that you did not tell me about?
But that one was pretty. I mean, it was good, but it was pretty formulaic. Like you kind of knew what was going to happen, but you were still along for the ride.
Mhm.
It was like mind candy.
Okay.
Well, it was cool because they really attempted to, they took the Downtown Abbey type of, setup with, old, not necessarily Victorian era, but that feel, and they included representation for a lot more ethnic groups and different sexual orientations. And so I think that was a good thing. And, it's not something that's usually done with those type of shows. So bravo for that, for sure.
I think with that situation, I think Hamilton really broke that mold to be able to say you don't have to, it doesn't have to be historically accurate. It just has to be good.
That's right.
That's all it has to be. I think that's one of the problems with a lot of movies or TV shows or whatever it is. They expect people to like it just because someone said this is cool. But if it's not good, then then it's not going to be. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, it's got to hold your interest. My favorite meme so far that's come out of that one is that I watch Bridgerton for the plot, and then they have a picture of the Duke. I'm like, yep.
I'm assuming the Duke is like a Hunchback of Notre Dame, Quasimodo type character.
He is
very character driven, very.
It's like for the plot.
Oh, got it. So the plot is just unbuttoning. Is that what? Now I see why my wife watched it. Oh, okay. We're gonna have a conversation when I get over this.
Well, there's a lot of unbuttoning. There's a lot of scruff. Because that's a big thing. You've got it going on. You know what I'm talking about.
I try. My wife wasn't too interested a couple months ago, so I started growing, and it's working out okay.
The Duke of Wellington.
I love that. Somebody write that down. I'll write it down.
No, I'll tell you what, Katie. The parts of it that I did see, I didn't think were bad, and I'm usually not into those. But yeah, Bridgerton, I thought it was another one that was just, it was really engaging for people. They're nailing it with a lot of this stuff. Yeah. Did anybody watch Death to 2020?
No,
not yet. I saw it. It's Samuel L. Jackson, right?
Yes, and it's not super dark or intense. It's funny. I mean, it's about 2020, so obviously it's dark, but it's just funny. If you want a good laugh for an hour, yeah, just do it. It's very lighthearted.
Awesome.
That's what we need. We need good laughs.
Yeah,
so, Katie, what are you going to do this year?
I am making no promises this year. However,
aren't we supposed to do something?
I said, however, I have a potential co-written series in the works with Jane again, since we did such a wonderful job on our first one. Yeah. I also apparently owe Rebekah a 30,000 word novella for Three Furies Press at some point this year.
Nice.
Sooner rather than later, before she gets the cattle prod out. And then if I ever get around to it, finishing book 5 in the Assets series.
Yeah.
I thought you did that last year.
Nope. I got halfway through and I hated the plot, and I went, nope, I got to fix this. And I haven't made forward progression since.
But you did just release a book.
I did just release a book. Yes, and I should take my own damn advice.
That was a setup right there. Hang on. Let me.
The damn book.
Awesome.
And I'll tell you, you can see that I wrote this and I use it as a reference book. You can see how bent up this is, and I've only had it for about a week because it took forever to get my copies. But as I go through, because I also edit for clients, as I go through, I'm like, I need to remember, what was that word I was looking for? Well, I happen to have charts and word swaps, and so I end up going back to the book to find the things that I need. So it's useful even for me. And I wrote the damn thing.
There you go.
Awesome.
Some of the best writing advice that I've ever gotten has been, well, probably all of the best writing advice that I've ever gotten has been from the people on this show and the guests that we've had on this show. Because we've had such a huge variety of people on, haven't we? I mean, from indies to traditional, from, small timers to people who are very successful. And I mean, just the amount of advice that we've heard or silly little tricks that are like, oh, why didn't I think of that? That's really dumb that I haven't thought of this 4 years ago. And it's just been amazing. And I hope that people that watch the show or listen get that from it as well. That's our whole goal is to make people's lives a little easier.
Yeah, I mean, we learn through experience, and by sharing our experiences, we do learn from each other, and that makes the indie community better as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Mike has another thing to say. He said, my wife has forbidden me from shaving my beard off.
Wait, Scottish, Lord, Irish?
Closer to
Irish?
my actual voice, I think.
Okay.
That is a face palm.
The Scottish Highlands. He's from the Scottish Highlands. Got it. I'm really learning a lot about Mike tonight.
I can do this in a
Learning a lot
Bridgerton.
about him.
I can do this in a Bridgerton voice.
Uh-oh.
My wife has forbidden me from shaving my beard off. That's my Bridgerton voice.
Nice.
That was all the guys on Bridgerton.
A lot of
Super
smoky whispering.
brooding, super.
Smoky whispering.
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh.
Well, on that note, we should probably pay homage to our second sponsor before we head out the door today. Anybody want to take a guess on who that is?
Me?
Miss Rebekah Jonesy. She has some amazing books out. She also does live readings on her Facebook channel. You definitely want to check her out. She is Mistress Rebekah Dirty Jonesy, and you will be entertained.
Not only does she do live readings on Facebook, she does a live show on OnlyFans. You'll just message me for the link to that later, if you like. Well, guys, this was a great chat. Our first one of 2021. It was so good to see you girls again, and it was so good to see you again, David. This was great.
Awesome. I really appreciate you guys, especially the first show of the year. I feel empowered.
There you
I
go.
really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
We picked you special for this show because we wanted to start the year out right.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Thank you so much.
There you go.
Well, everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I think there's something that we usually say at the end of the show, isn't there, Katie?
No, that's not our show.
That's not our show. Oh,
Not our-
Really now.
and I think the boss would get mad if we stole his line. So we just say bye-bye and we'll see you next time.
adios.